Our topic today is one that in many ways ties together everything we've been talking about. Courage, specifically the courage to change and to be imperfect. If there is one virtue I wish I could instill in every person, it would be courage. Because with enough courage, you can overcome inferiority feelings, pursue your purpose, reach out in social interest, break old patterns, encourage yourself and others. Essentially, courage is the spark that gets everything moving despite the risks. We often picture courage as something dramatic, a firefighter rushing into a burning building, a revolutionary standing up to a dictator. Yes, those are acts of courage, but I'm talking about everyday courage. The courage to speak up about what you believe. The courage to try something new when you're not sure you'll succeed. The courage to love again after being hurt. The courage to admit I was wrong. The courage to live authentically even if some may judge you. These can be just as heroic in the context of our own lives. Why do we need courage? Because life has no guarantees, and growth requires venturing into the unknown. I once wrote, "All life is a risk. In order to live, one must join the adventure." And another Adlerian line, "The chief danger in life is that you may take too many precautions." Asquotes.com. If we try to eliminate all risk, we eliminate life. Think of someone who is so afraid of rejection that they never form relationships. They may avoid pain, but they also miss out on love, connection, and joy. Or someone so afraid of failure that they never pursue their dreams. Yes, they avoid disappointment, but their life remains small and unfulfilled. It's natural to feel fear. Courage isn't the absence of fear. It's moving forward despite fear. As a famous saying goes, often misattributed to me but wise nonetheless, courage is not the absence of fear, but the willingness to act in spite of it. Asquotes.com. When you feel fear about something worthwhile, try reframing it as a sign that this is important to you, and that on the other side of that fear is something valuable. One big fear that holds people back is the fear of being imperfect or making mistakes. Many of us have an unrealistic expectation that we must do things perfectly or not at all. But Adlerian psychology urges a freeing idea. Have the courage to be imperfect. This means accepting that you'll sometimes mess up, that you won't do everything at an expert level, especially on the first try, and that's okay. You can learn, you can improve, and you can enjoy the journey without the crushing burden of needing to be flawless. Think about a toddler learning to walk. They stumble, they fall on their diaper, they get up and try again, often giggling or with determined focus. They aren't sitting there thinking, "Oh no, I fell. I'm such a failure. I'll never walk. Everyone is better than me." Those discouraging thoughts are learned later. The toddler exemplifies courage to be imperfect. They inherently know falling is part of learning to walk. So if you've been afraid to fall, adopt a toddler's mindset. Fall, pick yourself up, and try again, perhaps with a small adjustment. Thomas Edison, in inventing the light bulb, famously said, "I haven't failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work." That is scientific courage to be imperfect, using each failure as feedback, not as a verdict on your ability. Now, how do we build courage? Encouragement, as we discussed, is a big part. Surround yourself with people who lift you up, and give yourself positive self-talk. But also, courage grows by doing. It's like a muscle. You strengthen it by using it. So, start with small acts of bravery in daily life. If you're shy, maybe today initiate one small conversation. If you usually avoid conflict, maybe today express a mild preference or disagreement politely. Every time you step a little out of your comfort zone, that zone expands. You might even make a list. What are things I'm afraid to do, but which I know would be good for me or lead to growth? Rank them from least scary to most. Start at the bottom and work upwards. Each check mark will add to your confidence. Another technique: visualize the worst-case scenario and how you'd cope. Often fear is of the unknown. If you shine a light on it, it's not as terrifying. For instance, you're afraid to start a business. What's the worst? Maybe it fails and you lose some money and have to go back to a regular job. Would you survive? Yes, probably. You might not prefer that outcome, but if you know you could handle it, then taking the leap becomes less intimidating, because the worst case is not fatal. Plus, you'll almost certainly learn things, even in failure, that could lead to later success. I also encourage, there's that word again, adopting a playful or experimental attitude. Life changes can be seen as experiments. If you view something as a grand experiment rather than a do-or-die situation, it's easier to find courage. I'll try living in a new city for a year and see how it goes is a gentler, more courageous mindset than, if I move and it's awful, it's an irreversible disaster. You can almost always pivot or adjust if needed, knowing that gives you freedom to try. Let's talk about a big category of courage, the courage to change oneself. It's actually easier sometimes to do a daring physical act than to change a bad habit or confront a personal flaw. Why? Because changing ourselves means owning up that our current way isn't perfect, courage to be imperfect again, and venturing into unfamiliar behavior. If someone has, say, an anger issue, it takes courage to say, I need to learn better ways to cope, rather than justifying themselves. If someone struggles with addiction, it takes immense courage to seek help and face that challenge. But oh, the rewards when they do: lives renewed, relationships healed, self-respect regained. Even the courage to seek therapy or counseling if needed is a big step for many, because they fear stigma or vulnerability. But reaching out for support is a courageous act of taking control of your life story. In my time, therapy was not as common as today, but I commend anyone who is brave enough to say, I could use some guidance here. The courage to drop the mask is another crucial aspect. We often wear masks of what we think we should be, the always strong one, the always pleasing one, etc., as we've discussed. It takes courage to show your real feelings, to say I'm struggling, or I care about this, or I disagree. But authenticity is the only path to genuine connection and self-esteem. If people only like your mask, you know deep down it's not you they like. By having the courage to be yourself, you risk some people not accepting you, but you gain the possibility of true acceptance from those who matter. Let's bring an example. J.K. Rowling, the famous author of Harry Potter, experienced numerous rejections. 12 publishers turned her down. She was a single mother on welfare writing in cafes. It took courage to keep submitting her manuscript, believing in her story when others didn't. She has spoken about how she faced failure and hit rock bottom, but it taught her that she had a strong will and that she had nothing to fear anymore. She said, "It is impossible to live without failing at something unless you live so cautiously that you might as well not have lived at all." Exactly. Overcaution is the biggest failure of all. Another example, Colonel Sanders of KFC was in his 60s when, after many career failures, he set out with his chicken recipe. He reportedly got over 1,000 no's from restaurants before one finally said yes to his franchise idea. That's a lot of persistence and courage in the face of rejection. He could easily have thought, I'm too old for this, I've failed enough. But he didn't let fear of rejection or age stop him. And let's not forget Nelson Mandela, who had the courage to persevere through 27 years of imprisonment and come out advocating reconciliation rather than revenge. That's moral and spiritual courage on the highest level. not becoming embittered, but instead continuing to believe in his vision for his country. Most of us won't face tests on Mandela's scale, but in our own sphere, the principles are similar. You might need the courage to forgive someone who hurt you, a different kind of bravery, opening up to vulnerability again, or the courage to change careers in midlife, or the courage to learn a new skill that's difficult for you, or simply the courage to say no to people so you can say yes to your own priorities. Now I want to emphasize, courage isn't about recklessness. Taking every life-threatening risk isn't courage, it might be foolishness. True courage is exercised in the pursuit of constructive goals, in line with your values, accepting necessary risk but not pointless ones. It's about expanding, not endangering your life. In psychological terms, it's the courage to confront our neuroses, our limitations, and step into growth. As Abraham Maslow said, we have a choice between going back into safety or forward into growth. Growth must be chosen again and again, and fear must be overcome again and again. All right, so how to boost your courage practically? Pep talks. Give yourself mini pep talks. Athletes do this all the time. Come on, you can do this. It might feel cheesy, but it actually helps. Or recall someone else's encouraging words to you. Role models. Think of someone you admire for their courage and ask, what would they do if they were in my shoes? Sometimes acting as if you had their courage can bridge the gap until you feel your own. One step at a time. You don't have to tackle your biggest fear first. Start with small acts of bravery daily, as mentioned earlier. Build the momentum. Reward yourself. Every time you do something that required courage, acknowledge it. Treat yourself, or at least tell yourself, that was brave, good job. This reinforces the behavior. Face fears directly. Often the anticipation of something is scarier than the thing itself. Our imagination can magnify fear. When you actually do the fearful thing, you realize it wasn't as bad. So exposure is key. Afraid of public speaking? Start speaking in front of a small group, and you'll likely find the actual talking isn't as terrifying as the nights of worry beforehand. Have a growth mantra, something like, mistakes are learning, I'm growing stronger, or feel the fear and do it anyway, or my personal favorite, no experience is a cause of failure, every experience is a chance to grow. Repeat these especially when fear hits. Visualize success. We talked about guiding stars. See yourself on the other side of this fear, having succeeded or at least having survived and grown. That vision can pull you through the scary moments. Let's not forget to find humor and lightness. Sometimes we can defang fear by laughing at how irrational it can be. I'm nervous about, say, dancing in public, but what's really the worst? Someone might chuckle at my moves. Well, I'll chuckle too. Life is too short to not dance because I'm worried about what some stranger thinks. And if you attempt something and it doesn't go as hoped, maybe you did stumble in that speech or your business idea flopped. Take pride in the fact that you had the guts to try. Many people don't even dare that. You're now richer in experience. Analyze what went wrong, adjust, and try again, or try something new. That's how success eventually comes. One other aspect of courage is often called the courage to be disliked, the title of a modern book on Adler's philosophy. This means having the bravery to live according to your principles and values, even if some people disapprove. Many of us fear rejection or criticism to the point that we conform or hide our true selves. But to change your life, you have to do what's right for you, not necessarily what pleases everyone else. That might mean saying no to social engagements so you can study, or quitting a secure job to pursue your passion while others question you, or adopting a lifestyle others don't understand. Alfred Adler believed that freedom is being willing to be disliked by some, because you can't please everyone and still be true to yourself. When you grasp this, it's liberating. You realize a bit of criticism won't destroy you. It's often a sign you're growing beyond the narrow box others or society might have had you in. So, if part of your hesitation to change comes from "what will people say?" Zrenia summoned the courage to risk their disapproval in service of your own growth. In time, those who truly care about you will likely come around, and if not, you will attract new people into your life who appreciate the real you. Finally, remember that courage isn't a constant state. It's something you practice moment by moment. Even the bold feel fear at times. The difference is they don't let fear dictate their choices. They feel the butterflies in the stomach and do the meaningful thing anyway. Each time you do this, the butterflies lose some power over you. If you commit to living more courageously, you'll find that your world opens up. Opportunities that once seemed out of reach will come within range. And crucially, that stuck, helpless feeling will begin to dissolve because you are actively proving to yourself that you are not helpless. You are taking action. You are moving. As Adler said, trust only movement. By taking action, movement, you generate results and feedback, which you can trust far more than sitting idle, worrying about possibilities. Movement, even small, is progress, and progress builds hope. So equip yourself with these truths. Mistakes won't destroy you. They'll teach you. Fear won't stop you. It will accompany you, and then fade once you're on the road. Criticism won't break you. It might sting, but you'll survive and grow stronger. With those shields, go forth and venture into the new. The life you dream of is on the other side of a veil of fear, a veil that can only be pierced by action. Every act of courage tears a small hole in that veil, letting light through. Tear enough holes, and soon you'll step right through it into that brighter world you imagined. In taking these courageous steps, you not only transform your own life, you also become an example to others. You give permission to friends, family, or even your children to be braver in their own lives. Courage begets courage. It's a virtuous cycle. By liberating yourself from the confines of fear, you quietly inspire others to do the same. Life truly can change, but it demands this brave leap of faith. You have all the tools now: encouragement, clear goals, a supportive mindset, but they all require that initial push of courage to activate them. I encourage you, in the deepest sense of the word, to give yourself that push. You will thank yourself 100 times over that you did. The horizon ahead is vast, and it is yours to explore. Take heart, muster your courage, and step forward into the life you were meant to lead.